Tasmania show, yeah.
Wagwan gang, back in this thing. And if you really gang, bang that like button. If you love Tazzy's Baddies like I do, all flavors, you can cop your merch because we good in every hood. We got cream, vanilla, strawberry, you know what I'm saying? Chocolate, all flavors. Yeah. Shout out to my Tazzy's Baddies. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody that's been commenting. Like I said, just working on being more and more consistent. You know, this isn't a podcast. It's just a place where I'm just, speaking about some of the things that I'm interested in and my perspective coming from radio and my interviews. If y'all don't know, I've done a lot of interviews with Big Sean, Tiana Taylor, Pusha T, you name it. Matter of fact, I was supposed to put the Pusha T. I'm going to make sure that I put that on the other clip. Something just hit me. But today, we're not here to talk about Pusha T, but you can go check out that other video that I just did, Pusha T versus Travis Scott. Today is Jim Jones versus Kid Cudi. It's Jim Jones versus somebody every single week. And at this point, these Harlem niggas are really activating this algorithm. It's such a very, very interesting thing. But just Kid Cudi in general, his name has been coming up a lot over the past few years. And Kid Cudi, from what I've known, has always been out the way. I remember when I first heard N Nite, I'm talking about Cleveland is the reason, Maui Wowie. Like I grew up, well, I'm not gonna say grew up, but I have a strong love for Kid Cudi. The shorty that I used to talk to, we used to listen to Kid Cudi all the time. And that song, like his music was like it's a time frame, But I will say, if I'm not mistaken about what's going on, Jim Jones is saying that he's responsible for Kid Cudi's success. And it's just like, Lord have mercy. Like everybody want to take credit for something else. I don't know what's going on, but like, it's just out the blue. Like the last thing that I heard about Kid Cudi that caught me off guard, that he was in the Diddy like lawsuit. When his name came up, I'm like, Kid Cudi was at the freak-offs? But, which I didn't cover either, but he was dating Cassie, and I think, Diddy had blew up his car or something like that, so he had to come into court and he had to testify. That's what I had heard about Kid Cudi. After that, I had heard that he had gotten married, so shout out to Kid Cudi. And now, as of recently, and right before this Jim Jones situation, I saw that Kid Cudi has gotten back into painting. He just released a really, really dope series. Shout out to Ferg and shout out to Kid Cudi, like with their painting and everything. It's just dope. I think as an artist, when you find a different love, it could be production, it could be songwriting, it could be DJing, just finding other different ways to tap into music and inspire yourself. But it's a really, really dope segment. Go check that out. But the clip that I'm referring to is that I think Jim Jones had an interview and Kid Cudi responded. So Jim Jones said that if it wasn't for him getting on the Day and Night song, we wouldn't know who Kid Cudi was. I can't agree with that, but I will say, if I'm not mistaken, Kid Cudi came out around the MySpace era, but I will say I was a huge Dipset Jim Jones fan. Like, just Dipset. Really, it was Jewel since Santana that I was a huge fan of, but I love Dipset in general. And I remember around that time, it could be, crunk music, Certified Gangsters, whatever it was, anything that Jim Jones, was on, like I was checking out. And I've always thought that Jim has gotten way better lyrically over the years. So when I think back, I do remember the Day and Night version of Jim Jones. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe I heard that version first, and then I discovered Kid Cudi. So to Jim Jones's narrative, I'm not going to sit here and defend him and say he's responsible. But as a person, as a listener, I did hear the Day and Night version of Jim Jones before. But that's because I grew up on street music more. Like I didn't get into more eclectic music because of my family until later. But yeah, so in the interview, he was like, basically some kids came up to him and was like, yo, I got this video that I just shot for this artist named Kid Cudi, Day and Night. And they was trying to pitch the video that they shot for Kid Cudi to Jim Jones. And Jim Jones was like, I'll let y'all shoot my video for me, but I need that beat. So they did whatever they could. They got the beat. And then when they got the beat, they gave it to Jim Jones. And then Jim Jones ended up putting out his video of Day and Night. It said that Jim Jones actually released his version of Day and Night on October 21st, 2008. And Kid Cudi didn't actually drop the song in the video until afterwards. That doesn't mean that the story is what he says that it is, but like as far as the timeline, because okay, yeah, you got the song, you ripped it off the internet and you was able to get to it, but it doesn't mean that because you got on it, you made it go. You probably gave it some legs. You probably have exposed Kid Cudi to street culture, because from what I know about Kid Cudi coming from Cleveland, that he moved from New York and he was working, from Ohio, and he was working in New York, you know what I'm saying, in the fashion district at Rockstars. He was rocking skinny jeans really early. If y'all don't know, there was a really, really dope show called Made in America about him making his own denim line. I love Japanese denim, selfish denim. I forgot my homie around this time, but we would watch that show. I was a huge Kid Cudi fan in that space. And I know that also too, on a fashion tip, you can even see where, the inspiration with Jim Jones and Chrome Hearts and Rockstar, so I could see that there could be some synergy there with the hip hop rock type of thing. But for Jim Jones to get on to make his version of the song October 21st, 2008, and just a few months later, March 2009, it peaked at number 3 on the charts. And it was 21 weeks on the charts, and it was 12 times platinum. And you know, I think when Kid Cudi, just to see him having to speak up, he's not a street guy, so it's like all this stuff that he has to respond to Diddy. It's like, yo, like, leave that man alone. Like, I'm like, I feel for Kid Cudi. Like, it seems overwhelming, and it sounds like painting has been an escapism from having to relive the Diddy situation, live in the Cassie situation, and it's just like people trying to attach themselves to you, you know. But you can't misquote silence. But I do say I admire Kid Cudi for speaking up, and he was like, "You ain't have shit to do with that." This is what he said as a clip. And he was like, he put it on MySpace. Kanye discovered it. Sylvia Rhone. He was like, I can tell you that Jim Jones had nothing to do with his success. I think maybe the way Jim Jones worded it, even down to Jim Jones saying that he's more relevant than Nas. I think that Jim Jones knows how to say certain things in a kind of way that can stir up controversy. And I've known from what I've seen of him on the internet for him to be a little bit more emotional. Sometimes I don't know with Jim what it really is. You know what I'm saying? If he really does feel a way about it or a sense of entitlement, but it does feel like there's a lot going on there. And even recently, 50 Cent posted a video on his Instagram of Jim Jones trying to break in his IFC factory. And then he just announced that they're about to do the Paid in Full series. I got to make sure that I'm going to do a video on that too. 50 Cent and Cam, they're about to, the G Unit Studios in Shreveport, Louisiana. This content game is getting crazy. And Wallow was talking about the war for IP addresses and people putting stuff out and just being able to own your own narrative. We're at a place right now where everybody got a microphone, from Joe and Jada. Like, you just see all these different people getting on here and having perspectives about people. But honestly, you just really need to know thyself. Like, knowledge of self is key, because anybody can say anything about you. But when you're content, when you got that Mamba mentality like Kobe Bryant, you know what I'm saying? You could be unfazed by whatever. My mom always says, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Like, we define words and give them power. So if somebody call you a fuck nigga and it hit, maybe you feel like a fuck nigga. You're a bitch ass nigga. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, you can't call me something that I haven't agreed upon with myself, because I know who I am. I'm Taz Tycoon. So whatever anybody calls me, I don't care. I ain't got time to be responding to any of that. But let me know how y'all feel, man, about Jim Jones versus Kid Cudi. Do y'all feel like Jim Jones is the reason for Kid Cudi's success with Day and Night? Or do you feel like it's Kid Cudi and all his hard work? Let me know in the comments. If you really bang that like button. You're tuned into the Tasmania Show with Taz Tycoon. Let's go.
Tycoon running up the score, Tazzy's baddies on the floor. And that ass is super fatty, call me Zaddy, throw some more. Super nasty, she a savage, slaughter, fuck her like a whore. Popping bottles, foreign models, Tycoon on the world tour. Shorty, what you bad for? Turn this to a hit-a-thon, damn, all your bitches bad, tell them they can come along.